Welcome back to Brush Up Your Game. Today, a rankum of James Tiberius Kirk. Uh, you asked for him. Tristan, welcome in. Let's deliver
Hi,
what the people want.
let's
A
do it.
ranking of Kirk. Number 9 for me is this lovely action disable an upgrade of your choice on the target ship when the target ship's at range 1, and I just sit there and scratch my head and go, why? Like, I don't want to spend an action to disable something that you can undisable. Uh, the nice side is it's a relatively high captain, so the
Yeah,
odds are you're going to be able, or you're stuck with it being disabled for the round, hopefully. But there are times where everybody's been higher than skill 8, and you'd just be able to re-enable this right away. So, um, yeah,
yeah, and just to jump ahead, I agree. It's range one. It's, I can't see myself wanting to use that too often.
uh-uh.
Um, Picture's awesome. That Wrath of Khan jacket is kind of like peak '80s sci-fi
Yeah,
aesthetic. I love that, but that's about all I can say about it.
that's the
Um,
best part of the card.
that's part of the card. It is. It is. I got the Mirror Kirk. I mean, you just talked about him recently in your re-review of the ISS Enterprise.
I did.
Best case scenario, you're essentially wasting two actions for one attack die because you got to use the action, then you got to re-enable your upgrade. Worst case scenario, you're absolutely crippling your ship for a couple extra attack dice. And then where's your quality coming from? I don't see any reason to
Yeah.
run this particular Kirk. So
No, I mean he is a little higher on my list, maybe higher than he perhaps should be, but um, I'll talk about it when I get there.
let's do it. Yeah.
All right. Did you have anything more to say about 80s? What is that? Wrath of
Uh,
Khan Kirk?
I hope I hope we get a better version of this Kirk and Legacy of the Name with the same picture.
Uh, these are the voyages. Yeah, I think we will. My number 8 is Kelvin Captain Kirk, and I feel like this is fitting because he was a pretty good crew, and we'll get to the crew much later. Um, but he wasn't the best captain in the first movie, and I think that's where this picture came from. But I just don't like disabling a card, right, an action to get my crew sped up one round. And most crew aren't taking that much time to come back, anyways. This just doesn't feel that necessary to me. Um, Feels like a really wasted card, and then I'm disabling, so I'm going to attack at skill 1, meaning I'm attacking last, and that just don't feel good.
Yeah, I think there's a very narrow build where this works. Like if you have Esri and a bunch of like three time token crew that
Yeah.
just generate a bunch of abilities, and maybe one of them is the ability to re-enable the captain or something like that. But beyond that, yeah, you're right. It's most of the time I really only have maybe one crew I'm concerned about with time tokens, and that's where Bashir or Esri come into play.
Right.
So
Right. Okay, my number 7 is the
yep, yep,
Admiral.
yep.
And the only reason he wasn't at the bottom is because he's the Admiral. So at least I can say, well, he's giving me a skill boost. Um, and other ships can use this ability because the
Yeah,
captain version of him is bad. Um,
yeah.
but to spin that on an Admiral just feels worthless. I think when I did my ranking of 40 something admirals, this was pretty near the bottom. Um, and I'm not doing much of a service giving it the 7 spot because it's not great. But
Yeah.
again, it gets some points because it's an admiral, not a captain. So it's using um, a slightly less strategic spot.
Hmm.
Um, and 2 skill boost is nice. I'll give it that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, two skill boosts is nice. I mean, the action is a little more versatile when it doesn't have to be your ship. But if you want a two skill boost, Use Admiral Leighton. He's a point cheaper and his ability's a lot more useful.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah. Okay, so my number six, I get caught up to you,
all right.
and I think the only reason I moved him up this far is because I can see utilizing this ability when you feel like your ship is going to be destroyed, and it's that last gasp,
Mm.
chuck everything or disable everything, and I can deal with it. And if I live one more round, great, I lived one more round. And if my ship gets destroyed later on this round, oh well, at least I threw everything I had out. Um, I want to think. Oh, the saving grace for this is disabling crew doesn't hurt you as much because you have agony booth.
Okay.
So you can still
Yeah.
use the crew. Now you're going to discard the crew after doing that,
Yeah.
but there is that slight benefit, or at least slight workaround. Um, Still not amazing, and still not really good. I feel like six through nine, all bad Kirks. Please don't ever run them. No, please, please don't. Okay, now the real list starts. But somebody asked for a complete rank 'em, not the top five. So if I could have just done a top five, I would have, because this is where I felt like the list actually began and there were decisions to be made. Six through nine were all bad cards.
Yeah, don't disagree.
Okay, and so now we probably will have some disagreement.
Not yet.
Not yet. So number five, skill nine, nice, right? And we're okay paying 6 points for skill nine in a talent slot, and placing a battle station is cool. Re-rolling attack dice. Spending a battle station to re-roll some dice. Or spending that battle station to re-roll some defense dice. And you can still do a battle station as a free action if you find some way to do that.
Yeah.
It was a lot of text to say not a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I find that the more text a card has, usually the less useful it
Yeah,
tends to be.
sometimes.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, yeah.
but this card still feels good because it's a battle station plus.
Yeah, it's a little more than the battle station. It gives you some flexibility, that your opponent has to plan for. Um, so it's nice. I mean, it's nice to have those outs, right? Kirk doesn't like to lose, so he's gonna find some ways out of some tough jams, and maybe those rerolls are gonna matter. And there's some times on the attack, especially where you pull a battle station, you roll the dice, and you just end up with a bunch of blanks, and
Yep.
that battle station gets wasted. At least here you have kind of a semi target lock to salvage that roll. So
Yeah. Still not a good ability.
not amazing. No,
No. Would have been better if he could have re-rolled any or all of his dice.
for sure.
But
That would be amazing. Yeah.
okay, number four, the OG Kirk. Hey, disagreement. There we go.
Disagree.
Um, and look, I like everything about this card. I probably could have moved him up, um, but I think this is just dependent on the element of surprise, which now as we're getting more talents that are cheaper for Federation, you don't necessarily need them. Like, yeah, there's still talents that cost more, but what are you necessarily hiding there? There's still just a limited pool of Federation talents that you're going to hide. And to really maximize this card, you're going to pay 12 points to do it.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Um, and you have no other ability after that point. Don't get me wrong. I've run double cheat deaths with this Kirk. I've run some other really cool talents with him. I think you could put him on like a Galaxy ship, run Galaxy Wing Squadron, if that's the right name. I'm blanking at this point.
Yeah.
But there are really cool talents, and I think this Kirk does something that a lot of a lot of captains don't with the double talent slot, and that rarity is to be rewarded and commended. And I like this card. It fits a play style. It just doesn't fit the way that I'm building a lot these days.
Yeah, he's just a little bit higher on my list. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, I got the bounty Kirk here. I mean, discounts are great. I don't mind that at all. If he does nothing else, that's decent because Federation ships tend to have a lot of crucible lots.
Yep.
And then the other abilities, I mean, it's nice too. You know, not having to worry about re-enabling a crew. You just get those time tokens. And there's obviously ways you can play around with that with Esri or
Uh-huh.
something like that to reduce that. I think the only thing kind of holding me back a little more is with the more recent releases, I feel like we're seeing less and less crew that are dependent upon disable abilities
We are.
and more that are, either, they do give you an aux or they have time tokens already. So there's just the pool of cards that benefit from this Kirk is not necessarily expanding that much. It's kind of hit a plateau. And so his usefulness is not going to really increase much more, in my opinion.
I have a feeling though that the design team has not forgotten that disables exist, and so
Yeah.
it's going to come back at some point. Bounty Kirk, the discount Kirk, is my number three. I think what this has done more than anything is it has allowed all crew, not just Federation crew, all crew, to be brought into the modern era. It's just that the Federation crew are cheaper. Uh, you can cross faction Kirk, you'll pay more. It's just if you bring Federation crew with you, they get the discount or they don't take the penalty point anyway. Um, but you can bring that really cool Klingon crew, as non canon as that is, that gets disabled, and now it doesn't. Now it's three time tokens or Romulan crew or whatever the case may be. Kirk with like the crew from the NX, which is somewhat interesting crew, but they're all held back aside from Phlox by being disables. And at least now they can work. I don't know. I like the trade off. Still not my favorite captain, but one that I think does an ability that we don't see anywhere else. At least not from the captain standpoint. So
That's true. I mean,
I like that.
there was anything else quite like it for sure.
Yeah.
I like the original Kirk here. Comes from a pack that has a lot of staying power still. The
It
original
does.
Enterprise, great ability. Mr. Spock, Sulu, all great abilities. Maybe not quite as much there. I agree. If you want to maximize the use of this card, you're spending 12 points. That's quite a lot. But there's two ways you can use it. There's either the element of surprise. I mean, what is hiding behind those elite talent slots? Or there's also just using it as a discount. There are some still newer Federation elite talents that are going to be 4 or 5 points, and you can shave some of that off. Federation Task Force and Commander and the Shakedown Cruise Commander. You can get a few points
Yeah.
shavings there. Cheat Death. I've put Hidden Picard maneuver underneath here to basically move my ship all the way across the board and attack my opponent on the first turn
I
kind of
like
thing.
that.
So
Yeah.
there's just fun ways if you like to kind of keep your cards close to the vest and try to surprise or otherwise perplex your opponent. This is one of the few cards that allows you to kind of hold some of that stuff back until you're ready to use it.
I like it. Strange that Kirk would use Picard maneuver, but it is the kind of trick he'd pull. And I like
Exactly.
that call.
Yeah.
Picard maneuver is still one of the most undervalued elite talents in this game.
It's great. There you can if you can make it work. I mean, especially like on the Prometheus now. I mean, you can
Oh yeah.
fly that thing right across the board and smack your opponent in the face. They no one really expects to get engaged in the first round in this game,
No.
right? So the second or third maybe. So get a jump on your opponent, and you can put Shakedown Cruise Commander on them. So you get right up to him on that first round, then you turn around and get behind him on the second round with that second elite talent. That's my thought on
I
it.
like it.
Anyway,
All right. Hey, there we go. Okay,
there
so
we go.
number two, Kelvin Crew Kirk, and I know this card featured at Worlds. I forget if it was the last Worlds in 2019 or if it was 2018 Worlds, but regardless, it's still a really good card. It is one of the very few ways that a crew is getting you a free battle station
Hmm.
token, and to boot, a little captain skill boost.
And
And
elite talent.
you're right. Sorry, I was getting there, but
Sorry.
yeah, I'm sorry, bearing the lead, right? A crew giving you an elite talent slot is also one of the rarities. That's on what? A Riker, Elam Garrick, and Kirk, and maybe one other card in this whole game.
Mm, yeah, those might be it. Yeah.
It might just be those three. I feel like there's one more, but I'd have to look through my entire card collection,
Yeah.
which is not nice right now. Um, but yeah, this version of Kirk is a great card. Feels a little expensive at 4 points,
Yeah.
but that's a reasonable trade off because of how much he does. Um, and
Yeah.
yeah, 3 time tokens, it's a bit much, but still really good. And I like it.
Yeah. You put them with Bashir and you use that every round. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the 4 points is nice because if you want to cross faction them, you can still hide them under Genesis effect and get them for 3 points. So
That, yeah. All right. Um, well, not much secret here, but our number one is animated Kirk, which is it can it continues to amaze me how many good cards, great cards, are in this animated faction pack. And
it's great.
I remember at the time, so many people sat there and went, "Oh, it's the animated series. I don't want that. It's animated. I don't like the art style. Oh, it was a terrible show. All this." It's like, no, there's one of the best Romulan captains, the best version of Kirk, some of the best Klingon captains.
Mhm.
Like, anyway, we're on
Yeah.
Kirk, but it's
Yeah.
don't ever underestimate product in anything because of the artwork style. Like, it's a game. Just play the game. Um, yeah. So action to get to place a scan or a battle station token. So that gets around, um, like the what is it? The Romulan captain. I think it's Mendak who does action control, like action bar
Mhm.
action control. Um,
Yeah.
but more than that, you get to do a crew action as a free action. So it's 2 for 1, and there's a lot of really good fed crew that have actions that you can combine. Maybe it's scan shenanigans. Kirk's an enabler of that. Maybe it's battle stations and who knows what. But there's a lot of good that Kirk can do, and I love what he brings to the table. Uh, we're fans of Ducat and Picard and basically anything and everything that gives bonus actions, and Kirk's just bringing bonus actions to the table.
Yeah. I love this. I love this version of Kirk. I mean, he's kind of like Picard light. But you're getting one of the most effective actions in the battle station token, and then you get to do something else. And like you said, there's tons of great Federation options there. And anyone who doesn't like the animated series is absolutely wrong. I'm sorry. Yeah, the art style is not great, but really, there's some really great stories. Some of the best science fiction writers from that era. I mean, you have what Larry Niven wrote a story that was essentially part of his like known space series that put the Kazinti into the thing. Uh, there, yeah, there's no reason to hate on the animated series. It is awesome. It is canon. I don't care what anyone else thinks. Massive giant Spock showed up in lower decks. So
Yeah,
anyway,
that was fun.
yeah, if you missed out on an animated faction pack, that's your own fault because if you hated on the series, that was a bad choice on your part. Uh, and that's all I got to say about that. This is a great card, great series.
Yeah. Um, well, we almost had the clean sweep. We just swapped 3 and 4.
Yeah, this might be one of our most kind of consistent lists, top to bottom, honestly.
Yeah. Well, I would. I'm going to both cheer and hate the day that we have the exact same list. That's going to mean that we've spent too much time doing these lists together, and that we have nothing to disagree about. Because I think disagreement is fun and part of the rapport of doing these lists. Um, and you know what, agreeing on the big things and the cards in the right order, relative right order, is important. Um, and I think we both can. Well, at least from my point, I can see swapping 3 and 4 between them. There's not a whole lot of difference. It is a play style call.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
but definitively, like 1, 2 are there. And I mean, okay, you're right. I did have the mirror captain a chunk higher, but then everything else just fell in line.
Yeah.
So
It's pretty close.
it's all there. Um, but yeah, Kirk, lots of good cards. I appreciate that somebody called that out. Now I feel like we have to do a Spock episode. Um, so maybe we'll have that shortly, and we'll go from there. But yeah, continue to let us know what you'd like to see, and we'll keep making those happen. So. Tristan, thank you as always for
Yeah, you're
joining me,
welcome.
and everyone, thank you for watching. This is definitely the most successful series that's on the channel. Uh, Almost every episode's getting over 100 views, and that tells both of us keep doing this. That you all love it. So thank you all for doing it, for watching, and really appreciate you all. So until next time, keep brushing up your game. Take care, everybody.